You know, everyone, as you have seen on my channel, I have replied to 2 of Doug's Disneycember videos. Well, actually, the last on-camera one I did, I replied to 3 of his Disneycember videos that he did, which were Extremely Goofy Movie, Lion King 2, and King of Thieves. The first one I replied to was Return of Jafar. Now, I've not seen Little Mermaid 2 that all the way through to kind of give, a reply to that. Nor have I seen Pocahontas 2, Journey to the New World, at all. I mean, I've seen some bits here and there, but I haven't seen all of it. I will say that I do own Pocahontas 2, Journey to the New World, because, of course, it came packaged with Pocahontas. So, what are you going to do? But anyway, I did see his video on Lady and the Tramp 2, Scamp's Adventure. And Doug, if you're listening, you do hit a lot of positive points here. It does feel like, we're right back in the same movie. It feels like it's an extension. And I do agree that the story at times may seem a little confusing. It's a good story. It's a good continuation. Yes, it feels like the same story recycled in certain parts, or played over again, I should say, in certain parts of the film. It feels like the same story as the last one, but with the roles reversed in some kind of shape or form. Now, one question, though, Doug, you and I'm sure a lot of people were probably having is, how old are the pups? I mean, you pointed this out in your video. You said, how old are these puppies? Because Angel, who's voiced by Alyssa Milano, who does a great job, no doubt about that, tremendous job, says she's been in and out of 5 homes, but yet she's still a puppy, or she half-grown puppy. Here's what I mean. You say, because you said we don't know how old these puppies are, these characters are, because you got Alyssa Milano as Angel, you got Scott Wolf as Scamp, so it's got to give you we got to have some kind of indication, right? Well, if a year or a year and a half has passed, you can almost, in a sense, say that these puppies are about 7 years old in dog years, right? Or if you add half of 7, which is 3.5, they're about 12, almost teenage years, right? So they're practically halfway to the teenage years as far as dog years are concerned. So they're about a year and a half. So I'd say almost about 11 to 12 years old, 13 years old in dog years. So they're basically at that rebellious stage, which would kind of answer the question as to why Scott Wolf and Alyssa Milano was asked to voice these characters. Basically, it gives them more of a distinct coming of age kind of rebellious kind of voice and maturity to these characters. So to answer the question, Doug, if you're listening, I believe you're looking at maybe from an age perspective, you're looking at the rebellious teenage age of maybe 14, 15 years old with these characters, just the way they act. I mean, if you look at Scamp, who's voiced by Scott Wolf, and he does a tremendous job, no doubt about it. He's very rebellious. He wants to have his own life. He wants to do his own things. And that is very similar to how Max is portrayed in a Goofy movie. Remember, Max is coming of age. He's 15, going on 16 years old. He wants to have his independence. He wants to have his own life, do his own thing. And that's exactly what you see with Scott Wolf's character. That's what you see at Scamp. So you would have to say Scamp is more along the lines of a teenager trapped in a puppy's body. So basically, like I said, probably about a year and a half has passed, almost 2 years. So you can almost say that he's the equivalent of a rebellious teenager. Angel's background, in my opinion, even though she's probably portrayed the same way, maybe about half a year older in a sense than Scamp, Angel's perspective is, yeah, she's about, like I said, about the same age, maybe a half year older, but she's been, as we find out, she's been in and out of homes, which we still don't know whether she was kicked out, given away to an adoption agency. We don't know. She's been through enough that it's allowed her to mature and realize that having a home is better than being out on the street. That it's helped her grow up mature-wise faster than, let's say, Scamp would. Even though you still see a bit of that rebelliousness and defiantness that she has towards the leader of the Junkyard Dogs, which she was a part of in the movie, because if you go to the end of the film, you see, and spoilers for anybody that hasn't seen it, she does get taken in by Scamp's family, and she becomes part of the family, but she doesn't become like a stepsister or anything to Scamp. No, she basically, her and Scamp basically end up in the same role as Lady and the Tramp, together but living under the same roof. Kind of repetitive, yes, but kind of follows suit in that area. Now, the story I liked, I did like the story. Like you said, it's a good follow-up. It feels like you plop back into the same movie, just continuing on, more of an extension. And I did like the fact that we kind of see that Tramp had a bit of a history with this Junkyard Dog leader, and how this Junkyard Dog leader, I like the fact that this Junkyard Dog leader feels betrayed and wants to get vengeance or get payback on Tramp for turning his back on all the Junkyard Dogs, or turning his back on all the street dogs. So I kind of like that kind of little background there between, where it connects Tramp a little bit. You find out a little bit more about Tramp's past. Like, there's more to him than just eluding the dog catchers, or looting, and scavenging for food. You find out that he was part of something, and yet he turned his back. And yet, in the eyes of this Junkyard Dog, he turned his back on all of it just to be with Lady and have a normal life instead of having his freedom. So I kind of like that they kind of gave us a little bit more on Tramp's background. Even though I wish we could have delved a little bit more into the history between Tramp and this Junkyard Dog, the leader of the Junkyard Dogs, and see why there is this dissension. Besides just getting flashbacks of him eluding dog catchers and dogs on a railroad track and stuff like that. So I wish there was more delved into this history between the two, but we never really get it. Maybe there was more to come, but maybe it ended up on the cutting room floor. I don't know. Heck, I would have liked the fact, I would have loved to see this Junkyard Dog confront Lady. Come face to face with Lady and blame her for taking Tramp away, for basically taking the smartest street dog and Junkyard Dog out there away. Basically put the blame on her. I would have loved to see that confrontation, and I would have loved to see Tramp defend the fact that it was his choice, not Lady's, to live the life, to give up the life on the street. But we never got that, and that would have been so good to see, because it would have added to more depth. It would have added to more reasoning as to why Scamp wants to be free and do his own thing, because it's something that his dad used to do. It's in his blood. His dad used to be a Junkyard Dog. His dad used to be a street dog. And it gives not only this leader of the Junkyard Dogs more reasoning to convince Scamp to join with them and be a Junkyard Dog, be a street dog, and take over what his father left. Take over what his father left behind, I should say. But kind of, in a sense, it would allow him to get payback in his mind on Tramp. Now, he does do this in the film. He does succeed, in a sense, temporarily, luring Scamp into the Junkyard Dog, into the Junkyard Dogs in the fray. Even though it's Angel, in the end, that tries to help convince Scamp, hey, you have a home. Why give it up? And that's when we find out that Angel would love nothing more than to have a permanent home. She basically find out she doesn't want to be on the street. She doesn't like it. So again, there's so much they could have done, and they did a lot, and they did a good job with what they had. But again, there's so much they could have done otherwise with not just Scamp and Angel and the other Junkyard Dogs, but with Tramp, with Lady, with this leader of the Junkyard Dogs, that we could have had a more compelling story and maybe some closure in the end. Because like I said, you could have had a little bit more history we could have had a little bit more history delved into between, Tramp and this junkyard dog, as well as we could have had something where the junkyard dog confronts Lady and blames her for the fact that Tramp turned her back on them. And you could have had Tramp, like I said, come to the defense of Lady and say, no, it was my decision. She had nothing to do with it. So, again, I would have loved if maybe we saw a little bit more there, but, again, maybe it got placed on the cutting room floor. I don't know, but it would have been more intriguing to see that. Now, one thing, though, that Doug didn't point out, but I'm going to point it out, is there is a similarity between this and Little Mermaid 2. Now, like I said, I haven't seen Little Mermaid 2 that much, but I do know the story of Ariel. I do know, not just from Doug's review, but from seeing snippets here and there, it's a role reversal. Now, we know that in the first movie, Ariel wanted to be with the humans. And at the cost of her voice, she got her wish. She wanted to live on the surface or be with the humans, and like I said, at the cost of her voice, she got her wish. That is until the end when she got her voice back and her father granted her wish anyway. But the roles are reversed in Little Mermaid 2 because now it's her daughter Melody that wants to be part of the ocean. She wants to live with the sea creatures. It's a role reversal, and you see that in Scamp's Adventure, in a sense. You kind of see that role reversal in a sense. Not really much of a role reversal, but you kind of see that even though Tramp was okay with living on the street and everything and doing what he had to do, then when he finally got taken in and became part of Lady's family, like we find out, he gave that all up because he became more comfortable with this life that he basically alluded to in the first film by saying every other day a house would take me in and I would be theirs and then I would go off on my way kind of deal. But now he had a permanent home. Here, in a sense, the role is reversed because Scamp, instead of, enjoying the comfortable life that he has, Scamp basically desires to live on the street. He wants to be wild and free. So you kind of see that similarity between it and Little Mermaid 2, between the characters of Scamp and Melody. But overall, in closing, I will say, like I said earlier, and Doug has even said this is a good film to pop in. It feels like you're back in the film. You'll plop back into the original film. The colors are a little bit more brighter in some areas, a little bit more colorful. So again, it's a good continuation and maybe a good conclusion because we haven't had no sequel after that. So overall, just a good film. I mean, this is one of Disney's better follow-ups, and that's saying something with the direct-to-video films, especially the sequels. It's a better follow-up. Lion King 2, Aladdin, and even Extremely Goofy movie. You could see in a way that the effort is there. The effort is there. The effort in animation, acting, storytelling, it's all there. And I have to give Disney props for doing that. So overall, I agree with Doug. This is one you have to pop in once in a while and enjoy. And once you do, you will enjoy it because it feels like you're just going back into the same film. You're just continuing off. You're basically continuing off in the original film. That's what it feels like. You basically plop in the sequel. It feels like you're being popped back into the. It feels like you feel like you're watching the original film, but you're watching the extended edition. So, so really, that's what it is. But overall, that's my response to Doug's Disneycember, Lady and the Tramp 2, Scamp's Adventure. You guys let me know what you think. I know I sounded like I rambled on a bit. I do apologize. But that's all I'm going to say. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to y'all later.